Now, All Things Real Estate continues on Full Service Radio, 830 WCRN. Once again, here's your hosts, Gary Kelley and Brad Avergon.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to All Things Real Estate, broadcast live on WCRN Radio. Live meaning that we record this in advance and then they play it live, which is good. I'm Gary Kelley. I'm with RE/MAX Executive Realty, and I'm joined by
the live Brad Avergon of Envision Bank and Mortgage. Sorry.
See, this is where I want to make a comment about, your face tone. We record this these days on Zoom, and we take the Zoom video and we put it up on Facebook. And I'm going to say, well, Brad, your face tones are looking a little ashen today.
It's my ashen color hair that washes out my face, Gary.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
It's funny. I had dinner with a group the other night, kind of my COVID buddies, the same group. And the one of the guys had gone in and had his hair cut, and the stylist had combed through some color. And combing through color meant that his hair was, shoe black, that kind of thing. And it's like, hey, did you do something with your hair? You look younger suddenly. And he's like an excuse a minute. And then his wife was there. I said, well, what do you think of it? And so she's like, I really don't care as long as he gets a haircut. So
I'll take it. All's forgiven during COVID. That's anything you want to wear, any way you want to wear your hair, any sort of facial hair, whatever works for you, it's okay.
As Brad and I were beginning to talk about what we wanted to do on this particular episode, okay, we said that we're going to do two segments. We want to be positive, talk about what's going on right now as we are out in the marketplace. And we also want to, in the second half, give a perspective on what's going to be coming in the rest of the year. So Brad, have you changed your mind on that?
No, I feel good. I am very upbeat. I'm ready to burst into song, as I told you earlier. Let's go.
Where it failed is you wanted to burst into song, and then you said, and you can dance. And those that know me know that's not a core competency at all. I enjoy dancing, but I am horrible at it. It's like golfing. I enjoy going out and looking at the grass and the trees and all that. But by the end of the first 9, I'm exhausted because I have been taking so many swings because I'm just horrible at it.
Well, fortunately for our listeners, Gary, this is radio, so they don't have to see you dance. So it's a good thing.
That's true. So Brad, how so far in the year, we are recording this on January 12th, which the station hates us when we do that. How's the first half of January looking for you?
You know what? It's been busy, Gary. I gotta be candid. It's unlike the whole year has been different. But usually the first 2 weeks of January tend to be quiet. We finish up the year and get everything closed out by January 31st. And then we take a little bit of a sabbatical and a week or two off, and then we come back. I've been busy. I had 3 purchases closed in the last 2 days, one of which was yours. It's been busy. I have people that are purchasing homes. I have people that are refinancing because rates are great, but it's been busy. I don't know if it's because people are working from their homes more, so they're more, interested in finance or whatever, but it started the year off faster than it usually does.
I would say the same thing. Normally you take a little break, during and after the holidays. I'm not going to say that we were out writing business on Christmas Day, but we did defer on doing a showing on Christmas Day, which in my mind is like, you got to be kidding me. When I first got into real estate, there was this lady that liked to go out and look at houses like the day before Thanksgiving. And, after doing that for a bit, Sue actually made the observation that she didn't think that the woman was particularly interested in buying real estate. She was more interested in getting out. And that may be. Don't know. Doesn't matter. we have stayed busy through this entire time frame, which is surprising, and that I think is driven by a couple of things. One is inventory continues to be down. Now, if you take a look at the homes that were listed this past Saturday, there were 6,855 homes in Massachusetts, all types, single family, condo, multifamily, on the MLS system. Last year, there was 10,493 homes on in the same time frame. So the amount of inventory out there continues to be low. And combined with the interest rates that we're seeing, which are continue to be some of the lowest that we've seen in a generation, it is driving huge demand. Now, COVID, not to go negative, but COVID is clearly back. We're having, I've lost track of the waves. Is this the wave upon the next wave? Is it the tsunami? I mean, I've got a friend whose husband is at the DCU center, and I was quite happy that he was at the DCU center. And the wife was horrified that I thought that. And I said, no. If he's at the DCU center, they're keeping an eye on him, but he's not in the group that's in ICU on an intubator. So I said, that's really great news, which is not a perspective she had. But we are beginning to see people that are saying, listen, we sat out last year. We don't want to continue to hold the property. It's time for us to sell it. So we've got a series of those that are lining up to come to market. And we're in doing the things that we normally do. We're in putting paint on. We've got some carpet going into one unit. We're big believers in decluttering. So the dumpster stuff is still going on. So we're actually, from that perspective, pretty busy. We have one house where the owner was exposed to COVID. So some woodworking that we're doing in the house has had to go on pause. But something, the contractor moved on to something else. It's not like, nothing going on. So that's all positive, I think, in an odd kind of way.
Things are moving forward faster than they were before. And I think you bring up a great point about the inventory. I think it's really allowing people, number one, if they're interested in selling their property, to get a premium on the property. There's just not enough on the market. So it's attracting a lot of attention from a lot of buyers that want a home, and so it's a great opportunity for folks that are thinking about that.
That's a concern that I actually have, Brad, in an odd kind of way. We always put into our offers that the property must appraise at or above the sale price if a mortgage is involved. But I'm going out and looking at some of these houses that, let's say, that a year ago may have sold for $300,000, talking in a generality. And today the market is commanding a $450,000 price. The question is it a good opportunity for someone to buy something like that? Is it going to continue to go up, or, heaven forbid, is there a bubble? What are your thoughts about that?
I've been doing this for over 34 years, Gary, and having been through the last real estate dip, we didn't really see a lot of a dip here. There were some in Westboro, where I'm located, I didn't see much of a dip at all. But there were some surrounding towns that saw a little bit of a dip, but it came out of it so quickly. And I think the reason for that is, number one, you do have limited inventory, and the reality is there's not going to be a tremendous amount of like new construction. There may be more houses that come on. There may be some pent up demand to list their homes for sale, to move out of the area that they've been maybe they were shuttered in for the last year, and now they're ready to move to Florida once we come out of this thing, or move out of state, wherever they want to go. But the reality is your ability to pop in a subdivision with 1,000 houses in the greater Boston area, let's say inside of 495, not likely. It's so that inventory constriction is going to be, I think, an ongoing basis, and I think that's going to support values moving forward. I don't expect the bubble to burst. One of the things I have seen, which is interesting, I have a gentleman who's he's actually a financial planner who sends his clients to me. He's actually buying a second home and he is buying a home up in New Hampshire, and he knows the property is going to come in under value, and he's paying a premium for it, and has already agreed with the seller that he's going to pay a premium for it. So it's kind of it's an interesting mindset. I'm seeing this more often than not. I'm seeing these clauses in purchase and sale agreements that if the house appraises under within a range, that people are still willing to buy it. And I hadn't seen those prior to this year. That's a new thing. So kind of an interesting mindset out there.
One thing that I do want to talk about is that we want to be positive. Sue and I got a text message just before New Year's from a client that had bought a house with us a year earlier. And it said, we really appreciate what you've done. It's been fabulous for our family. We love the house, etc. Now, that's a nice house. That's a nice note. It's a feel-good note. You don't expect someone to come back, a year later and say, hey, this really was a great house. But then we saw something on Facebook just the other day where they're announcing the birth of a son. And in this much of a way, okay, I want to say we helped to, we actually did nothing, but you want to believe that to a certain degree, you help facilitate all of that. No paternity suits here. We don't have to worry about that. But it's about the people that have those dreams still have those dreams, and they're still going to go out and still try to buy a home and raise a family, etc. And to me, that is so encouraging.
Absolutely. Life marches on. And I think, Gary, when you're taking people out to look at homes and such, are those, not that you get into the intimate details of their lives, but do you ask those thought-provoking questions like, well, how long
we're not allowed to ask thought-provoking questions, but we do. Okay. And if you're looking at a house with a couple and it's a 2-bedroom house, you do say, tactfully, any thoughts about maybe having children? And we basically say a 2-bedroom house, if you're using 1 bedroom as an office and 1 bedroom to sleep in, how are you going to work baby? And listen, if they want to say, well, we're not going to use the office, or we're going to double up in the master bedroom, that's fine. Those are personal choices. But we do try to say, are those types of things important for you in the given time frame that we're looking at? Because the average person stays in a house more or less around 7 years. So is this house going to suit your needs for the next 7 years or so? And then let them draw to a conclusion on that. Brad, let's draw this segment to a close on that happy note. And in the second half, we'll talk about where we're going from here. If someone wants to reach you, how do they do that?
The best way to reach me, Gary, is via my cell phone, which is 978-375-5531, or by email at bavergon, that's BAVERGON, at envisionbank.com. And Gary, how do they reach you?
And I'm at 508-733-6005, and I'm Gary at movewithgary.com. Let's bring it to a close. We'll start up the second half.
See you on the flip side.
You've been listening to All Things Real Estate on Full Service Radio, 830 WCRN.